What's up, guys? Welcome back to Rare Data Network. I'm your host, Mac Digi, and today we're going to be taking a deep dive into the SP-404 MK2 with COMPA. So let's go ahead and hop right in here. Definitely be useful to add into COMPA, but check it out. That's how the 6 works there. Alright, so now here we are back on the session screen, and this time we're going to take a look into the SP-404 MK2 and all of the control it has. So let's go ahead and focus on the SP-404 MK2 card. You can tap it once to focus, tap it twice to open it up. So before we open it up, I'm just going to go over a quick overview of the card again. So we have the device name, SP-404 MK2, the manufacturer, Roland, and we have the device's capabilities, which is its audio and MIDI capable there. Next, we have a left and right audio meter, and then we have the BPM readout right there, which will read from either the SP or from Ableton Link, depending on if this link button over here is turned on or off. Turn that off, it's going to reset and start reading the SP clock, which right now is set to 90 BPM. Moving on below here, we have play, record, plus record, stop, recall. So the way these work, play will play a pattern on the SP if you're in pattern mode. So basically it will control play and stop on pattern mode with play and stop here. Record will actually record to COMPA. Send it here to your recordings folder, and you'll see it recording on there as well if it's recording. Now plus record is actually works with recall. So recall 60 seconds we have here. That's going to be the default recall time. So it's going to always be listening and recording, and you can save back the last 60 seconds on this recording buffer. So by default it's set to 60 seconds. On the Raspberry Pi 3B you can go up to 2 minutes, and you can set those settings by going to settings. You can see it says recall buffer length right here, 1 minute. We can change it in 30-second increments. So moving on here, so you can see that the recall buffer actually gives us a live count of what it is listening. And now if I tap over here to the P6 card, we see the recall buffer has changed colors and has reset time again. So it's even changed colors in the SP card, letting us know that that recall is now listening to the P6. So there's some color coordination going there. So if I tap back to the SP, it should reset and start recalling from the SP back from the time I switched. So we have that available there, and then below it we have this oscilloscope that will show us a visual waveform representation if there is signal coming through. So just for example, if I hold a pad, we have audio coming through, and that shows the amplitude, and it's there for visual purposes, not measurement purposes. And then finally below that we have effects, loop, and DJ. Over on the P6 card down at the bottom where it says GRAN, those labels are letting us know what systems inside those devices are controllable inside of the card when we double tap it. Real quick before we go into the card, up here in the top right we have the focus label letting us know that the SP-404 MK2 is the focus, meaning that it is using it as the USB audio class compliant device. And then below that we have these 3 buttons, RX, Link, Mon. So Link is, as I described earlier, for Ableton Link. So we can turn that on, and that will sync with Ableton Link across a network of however many peers. And the great thing about Ableton Link is any device can control the main tempo. So we can sync MIDI clock to Ableton Link, but we can also do audio with that. But I will get into that later on when I cover Ableton Link specifically. And then the RX button actually works with Ableton Link as well. That receives audio from Ableton Live. So I'll get into that separate. Then finally we have the Mon button, which that is used to monitor if you're on another device. So for example, earlier I was working with the P6 and I was listening in with the SP. So I hit Mon to monitor the P6 into the SP, which was an active device. So it was traveling, the audio from the P6 was traveling all over USB to COMPA, and I didn't have to use any audio cables or any other cable, and that's how that worked. Now we're going to go ahead and double tap the card to open it, and this opens up the P6 control surface, whatever you want to call it. So at the top here we have all these tabs, and we start on the control tab, and this is where we have control of our effects system on board the Roland SP-404 MK2. So let's just take a look from left to right. See, we can see the BPM, and we can see what pattern, if any, is active. So right now 1 of 16, and it says bus 1. And if you look at the rest of the card, we have 6 knobs labeled TRL 1 through 6, just like the SP's effects system. But if we switch by hitting this button here, and you can see now they say things like rate and are giving us divisions, and they're specific to what effect is, just like how it is written on the SP. We can control those effects here, and you can look here, and I'm going to start moving this Control 1 knob on the SP, which is controlling depth of the downer effect. Upper right, we have this effects off button. Turn that on, and here on the screen, MFX button lights up. Press that on, activating the effects there, and see what we do on the SP, and this can control the SP back. And then down here below, we have these other tabs here that say B1, B2, B4, and N. Those are going to be our 5 buses that the SP has. Each of these can be controlling a different effect on a different bus. And then up top here, we also have the oscilloscope. So if I play some music again, you can see the audio there. And if you tap it once, it opens up to show a full view like that. And then if you're ever stuck in this view, just tap it again, go away there. And then next over, we have the keys tab, and this is just like it is on the, but works a little bit differently. The P6 has a granular engine, and the SP has chromatic mode. So this is going to be controlling chromatic mode. Basically, select a pad and you can play the pad chromatically within a couple octaves. So unlike with the P6 where we have a full octave range, we only have a couple octaves available, and that's what's reflected here on the push 2 and we also have the keys right here on the screen. Play them. So that's just triggering pad 1 of that one. But if I want to assign this to a specific pad, say I want to go to bank D, I have this bass note I want to assign to the chromatic mode. So it says down here a little tip on the SP, select pad plus shift, or select pad and then hold shift plus pad 4 to enter chromatic mode. So basically right now this is still controlling pad 1 on bank A, but we want to control pad 1 on bank D, this one. So in order to do that, we select it and then we hold shift F pad 4 on the SP. Now it's here on the keys, and I can play it here on the SP as well, or on the push 2 as well. So, but the cool thing about this is we can exit out of chromatic mode on the SP and do whatever else we need to do on the SP while we can still play chromatic mode on the keys here on the push 2. We have keep and latch, can go through octaves. You also have access to banks and the pads as well, but this doesn't work to select a new one. That's why we have this written in. That's a hardware limitation of the SP. And then of course we have the oscilloscope up there, so see what you're. And then moving on, next we have pattern, just like your pattern mode here, your pattern sequencer, 16 patterns up to, and you can choose between them, and you can play and stop and control that here instead of working on the SP directly. And then these next 3 tabs, I'm just gonna cover them to show you that they're here, but they aren't fully tested yet. I'm still working on these 3: looper, DJ, and LFO. But this is supposed to work with the looper mode, so you have all your standard controls it comes with. And then same thing with the DJ mode. If you hold D and J down to go here, you can work with DJ mode here. But when I get those fully set up and running, I will do a separate video on them. And then same thing with LFO. Basically I got a little bit of work to do there, but it'll start in LFO, and you can choose an LFO shape, and then you can assign it to control different effects parameters of SP. Alright guys, that was the SP-404 Mark II deep dive in COMPA. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or feature requests, go ahead and drop them down below. Likes and shares and subscribes are always very appreciated here, so don't hesitate to hit those buttons, please. And stay tuned for the next videos. We have the Ableton Push 2 deep dive coming, and if you guys haven't checked the P6 deep dive, make sure you check that out as well. And we got a lot more videos dropping on COMPA every day. So thanks again for watching, guys. I'm out. Peace.